Michelle Torrio, and this is the Be Mindful podcast. Hi there, and welcome back to the Be Mindful podcast. On today's episode, we are actually going to be doing a mid-year check-in. So mid-year check-in, the purpose of this is so that we can take a look back of the last 6 months and see what we need to do to continue our consistency, if we've been consistent, or really acknowledge if we abandoned our goals and new habits that we started in the beginning of the year. I mean, can you believe that it's already been half a year? Because I can't. It went by so fast, and this rest of the year is going to go so fast. So we shouldn't wait till January. That is what this episode is about. It's not waiting to lock in. We're going to lock in right now. Before we get into this episode, I want to share with you something very fun and exciting that's coming on June 18th. I am going to be live hosting a masterclass. This masterclass was designed for you to leave feeling confident in who you are and have the steps for you to step into the next level you. If you are listening or watching this podcast episode, I know that you want to connect with the strongest version of yourself and you want to finally become the version that you've been dreaming about. So if that is you, which I know it is, join me on June 18th in my masterclass, How to Embody Your Next Level Self. The link is going to be in my description to sign up. If you have any questions at all, please don't hesitate to ask. And if you're new here, welcome to the Be Mindful community. And hopefully I also see you at the masterclass. And I also advise you to subscribe to the podcast if you are interested in topics like faith, manifestation, mindset, stepping into your next level. If any of that sounds interesting, then like I said, make sure you subscribe. Okay, now let's get into the episode so that you can start locking in and making sure that you are on track toward whatever goals you have. So we're talking about this today because a lot of people fall off, not mid-year, they actually fall off back in like February or March. There's this heightened energy where everyone is so motivated in the beginning of the year. They set their goals, they set their intentions, maybe they set new rituals that they have for themselves. But as we all know, when we start implementing new things, our body and our brain is so uncomfortable, and some of us end up falling off. We fall off that consistency and we don't feel that motivation anymore. So what happens is that we get distracted. We lose the motivation, so we are making excuses. We sometimes fall back into our old patterns. We start to self-sabotage and even procrastinate. And because of that, we start to lose confidence in ourselves and we start to lose the trust that we are even capable of achieving whatever it is that we want. So my question for you right now is, if you are in this situation, I want you to ask yourself, okay, well, what now? Am I going to continue on this route, or am I going to make some changes and pivot? And obviously, I'm going to tell you it's time to pivot and make some moves. Even if you've been consistent, I really want you to still do this mid-year check-in, because recognize what's working. And if you recognize anything that isn't, then you could just pull that fluff out and continue on. Because sometimes we can be consistent, but maybe there are things that we can improve. There's nothing wrong with improving. If you did realize that you kind of fell off, there are a few questions I want you to ask yourself. One, what's been holding you back? Like, what is the key thing that has been stopping you from working towards this goal? The second question is this goal even still for you? Like, do you still want it? It is so normal to change your mind. And a lot of people stay working towards a goal that they no longer feel aligned for just because they've been working on it. I do want to say that if you just started working on this in January and you have stopped because maybe it got hard, that's not a valid reason to stop. For us to really see change, we obviously should continue working at something over and over again. And if we're going to stop, we really need to be honest on the real reasons why we are stopping. I forgot which episode it was, but there is an episode that I posted knowing the difference between quitting and restarting. Those are two different things. And if you are someone who is kind of in that situation right now, I highly recommend you go look at that episode. I will put a screenshot of that episode up here somewhere. The third question I want you to ask yourself is, how are your habits? Are they aligned with whatever you're working towards? And the last question is, what did you want? From the beginning of this year, what did you ask for? What did you tell yourself you were going to go for? Now, if you need to, pause this episode, journal about this, and then come back, because it's really important that you take time to really know what happened. Like, what happened these last 6 months, and do you still have the same goals, and what are the things that you need to fix? So let's talk about what it looks like to lock in. But first, I do want to acknowledge what locking in isn't, because a lot of people think locking in has to do with burning yourself out. So locking in has nothing to do with burning yourself out. It has nothing to do with over obsessing of productivity. That's something that I used to do, constantly feeling like I need to do something. And I'm not going to lie, someone older than me when I was in high school, this was someone that I admired, shared that tip with me. Like, if you're not doing anything, then you should be doing something, which is great advice. But rest is also productive. And the last thing I want to mention is that you do not become perfect overnight at this. Whatever you're going to be working towards, let it go, that you're going to be an expert tomorrow, and accept that it's going to take time. It's going to take time for you to build something that actually matters and actually matters to you, right? Whatever you're working towards should never be for other people. It should be for you. Like, what is your why? So what locking in is going to look like is you being very intentional with your time, with your thoughts, with your actions. In my last episode, I talked about creating a new identity. And so this is a big part of it. It's connecting to that identity of the version of you that is going to show up. Like, what do they look like? Another example of locking in is letting go of distractions. So whatever has been distracting you these last 6 months, we're going to do less of that. I myself love my rotting days. I don't know if you do rotting days, but rotting days is basically the days you do not really go out and you just stay in bed, or you stay on the couch and you watch your favorite show or watch some movies. Those days are a necessity for me. Like, they are much needed, especially when I have been constantly out and there's just family and friends events. Like, I need time to myself to kind of just be a potato. That works for me, and I'm mentioning this because I know that a lot of us like to do that a lot. And we get stuck on the couch watching our favorite shows or watching a movie or being stuck on our phones for quite some time. So we're going to remove that distraction and any other distractions that's holding us from really showing up. The next way you're going to lock in is keeping the promise to yourself. If you said you're going to do it, get up and do it. I know that's easier said than done. So an easy way to make sure that you're going to do it is to give yourself a reward. So let's say I want to get up even earlier in the morning, and my reward is going to be my coffee. And I'm going to make my coffee good, okay? I'm going to make sure I like the taste of it. I look forward to it. So the trigger is going to be my alarm, but my reward is a coffee. So anytime you're working towards something, there is always going to be a reward at the end, right? And sometimes you just can't see it. So if you need to get yourself to the end and the path to what you want is going to take longer than you expect, it sometimes can feel like it's never going to happen or that it's taking so long. To help you get there and keep the promises to yourself, give yourself a reward on the task that you do. Let's say you finish a task, and every time you finish a task, you give yourself something. Maybe you have an ice cream, or maybe you give yourself like 30 minutes to watch your show. Create this reward system, because that's how our brain works. Our brain is more likely to do something more often when we are rewarded something. And that's exactly why when we achieve our goals, it's so fulfilling, especially the ones that you were working so long towards, and you finally get to see it bloom. Just like plants, right? You can't see the roots that are being built to get there, but at the end, you'll be able to see the beautiful results. So I challenge you to choose discipline over excuses. Your brain remembers familiarity. Like, it is so comfortable with that. So imagine your brain becoming so comfortable doing the things that are leading you to become the version you want to be. No matter what, it's going to be uncomfortable and you may question yourself along the ride, but trust that it's all going to work out. It always does. And that might sound crazy and all woo-woo to always believe that it works out, but I mean, we're either going to believe the worst case scenario every single time, or why not lean on trusting the best is always available? When you do that, you allow your brain to focus on the good and stop focusing on your problems. It was the end of 2025, August to September in 2025, when I had this nudge that like, okay, Ray, you got to lock in. Like, now is the time. And I kept thinking, if I'm going to go back to podcasting, I have to show up consistently. If I'm going to relaunch my coaching program, I got to show up consistently for my people. Like, I took a year off to focus on myself and my mental health and really make sure that when I came back, I was coming back fully and I was intentional and I was strategic and that I wasn't just throwing things out there whenever I felt like it. Like, I had a bigger purpose. Like, I knew that if I wanted to help more people, I needed to show up and I needed to do it consistently and I needed to give my all. I knew I needed to create new beliefs and new habits for me to stay consistent because the old version of me, she wasn't showing up fully. She had some stuff she still needed to work on. So this is your reminder that you cannot have a different life with the same habits, the same mindset, and the same self-doubt beliefs that's been holding you back. Because within our core, what really stops us is our beliefs. So now let's go over your action steps. And if you're watching the video, you will see I have my manifestation journal right here because we're going to use the questions that are actually on here. I created this journal not just for scripting, but for you to really understand like who you need to be to manifest what you want. So that's why I grabbed my journal, because I want to share these journal prompts with you that you can use. And of course, if you want the journal as well, you can check the links in my description and order one yourself. Just so you know, we have other designs. We don't just have this one. And please don't mind my dirty journal. This journal has been with me everywhere. So let's just ignore that. So here are your journal prompts, and you're going to use this so that you can take action and stay locked in the rest of the year. First question is, what feeling do you want to focus on? So for example, do you want to feel confident, abundant, grateful? So you're going to write a list of how you want to feel and how you will focus on these feelings. The way you feel daily is how you know if you're aligned or not. So one of the things I wrote down is that I want to feel magnetic. And the way that I'm going to focus on being magnetic, what I wrote down was that I'm going to have fun, I'm going to trust the process, and I'm going to take aligned action towards my desires. That's an example of what you can do. So let's say that you want to feel confident. Like, what does that look like? I want you to think of a time where you did feel confident. And if you don't think of anything, you can't think of anything, I want you to imagine what that would look like. Is it based on like how you're dressed? Is it the way that you do your makeup? For me, I wrote confident as well. And I put mindful eating, I put exercise for my health, and I also wrote dress up for fun. And on to the next question. The next one is, what can I let go of and release? So this can be your habits. This can be any negative thoughts. This can be anything that is draining you, even people. And I also put in here to not expect to be perfect, but set intentions to do your best. Change and growth is a process. I totally forgot that I wrote that in here, but I love that I did. The next one is, what are my intentions/goals? So this can be personal, professional, it could be long-term and short-term. It can be anything your heart desires. Majority of people do not write down what they want. And it's a great practice to really step into imagination. When we were kids, we were told we can be and do whatever we want, and we shouldn't let go of that belief, and we shouldn't let go of that imagination either. So for this question, take your time, have fun with it. Be very clear what your intentions are and your goals are. And if it's the same thing as what you wrote or what you intended for since January, then that is your cue to keep going. Or if you've stopped, then that's your sign that you need to start over again and maybe just approach it differently. And the last question I have for you is, what is my why? Get clear on your why. This will help you stay on track. And when you're feeling unmotivated, come back to that question and it'll remind you why you even got started in the first place. Your why is so important. That's what's going to keep you going. If your why isn't big enough, then it's going to be hard to stay on track and really know what you're doing this for. This needs to be for you and no one else. But maybe part of your dream does impact other people you love. And maybe that is your why. Use that why as your fuel to show up every day, or at least every week. With those 4 questions, now you know the feelings that you want to step into. You also know what you want to let go of. You know what your goals and intentions are, and you know your why. Those are the 4 things that you need to lock in. It's you getting honest with yourself and recognizing how you need to show up. And this is exactly how. There are so many people that know exactly what they want, but the problem is that they get stuck in these mental loops and these old habits, these old patterns, and they stay within their old identity. So this is where I can be your accountability. Join me live on my masterclass on June 18th, and then you are going to feel so confident leaving that class and motivated to level up, to really step into the version that you're meant to be. I know you know that you're meant for more, so if you want to join me, check the link in my description, and I will see you on June 18th. Now, before I end this episode, I want to remind you that this episode wasn't created to shame you. This episode was here to call you out on your excuses if you have been making them. I do want you to remember, though, that you still have 6 months left of the year. You still have time. You still have time to build momentum and create consistency for yourself. You have 6 months to rebuild your habits. You have 6 months to become mentally stronger. You have 6 months to change your identity. You have 6 months to do whatever you want to change your life. I really, really just want you to stop doubting yourself and your abilities. And I don't want you to feel this guilt for ever falling off, because we're human. It happens. Like, you're not going to be perfect and show up like a robot every single time perfectly. But this is your sign to lock the fuck in. Like, this is your time. This is the time right now. Like, why wait? Your future is really waiting on for you to make the decision right now. And I am so ready and excited for you to step into the version that you have been wanting to become. So I hope you enjoyed this check-in and it was really helpful for you, because sometimes we all need it. I mean, I needed it for myself. I needed to really reevaluate how the last 6 months has gone and see what I want to do to pivot, anything that I want to change. And there are a few things that I do want to change, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's all about growth and transformation and getting better. And a last reminder before I go, my online coaching program, the NLT, is opening up next month. It is going to open up the night of my masterclass. So if you are interested in that, make sure you join the masterclass. Or if you can't make the masterclass, you can sign up to be on the wait list so you are first to know when those doors open. And as always, don't forget to be mindful, because who you are from within will attract from the out. I'll see you in the next episode. Bye.